Hi, everybody. This is Angelo Quinones, and you reach I Ministries. I Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired, the Bible. Special note: this is if the Lord wills. This sermon is a Greek commentary, exegetical look at this chapter and verse, is to be uploaded on YouTube on June the 23rd, 24th, no later than the 25th, if it could be helped, if the Lord will again. Father, in Jesus' name, please bless. And so we come to this again, okay, John chapter 2 and verse 19. And I want to explain myself, Father, but let me just read the text first. Jesus answered, okay, Yesu apakrite, actually it says first, Yesu, them, okay, probably out twice. Destroy, and that's an imperative, okay? Destroy this, okay, that's from the Hutas paradigm, temple, na'an, and Greek word kai, in 3 and treces, in 3 days I will raise it up. Okay, I will raise it up. I will raise up is one word, translating one word. You understand what I'm saying? Egero, okay? And that's a liquid future. We saw that that's in the future tense. It is very important here is auton, actually. It's a third person personal pronoun from the autos paradigm. Autos, autu, auto, auton, and those are the singulars. You understand what I'm saying? So auton is translated it here, and it is bracketing, okay? It is limiting the future resurrection. What future resurrection? The future resurrection of a body. What body? Jesus' body. What do you mean Jesus' body? His birthday suit. What do you mean his birthday suit? The suit that he was born in. What do you mean by that? The only body that Jesus ever had continuously, okay, in his subsistence, okay, is the body that he took at Bethlehem. He never had a body before, a continuous body, before Bethlehem. Now, he probably came with the other two members of the Trinity to Abraham in a body in Genesis chapter 18. Okay, but that wasn't a continuous body. Okay? Now, I already did a study on that, so you can go back and see it. It's called the Trinity series, and so that's just the deal. So I'm not going to, mention really, the evidence, the extreme pieces of evidence is found and recorded in those two chapters, meaning chapter 18 and 19, by the way. You know what I'm saying? This is my special child out of the vein with me here. Hi, Anna, my love. Jesus had a continuous body at Bethlehem, and he always had that body until he died. What do you mean until he died? I thought he was resurrected in the same body. Yeah, but it was the 3 days and 3 nights. He didn't tow that body along with him. He went to Sheol without the body. The body was in a new tomb upon the planet's surface. He was in the Cardia, in the lower regions of the earth. Okay, all right. Matthew chapter 12, verse 40, and Ephesians chapter 4, verse 9. But, okay, on the day of the resurrection, he entered into that body again, meaning the soul existence of Jesus entered into the body yet again. Thus, there was a physical, literal resurrection of that body. The resurrection comes in 2 parts. Number 1, the soul is elevated from the dead ones from Sheol. You understand what I'm saying? It is raised, and it's not given life. It didn't cease to be. He was preaching in Sheol. Verse 19 of chapter 3 of 1 Peter says, okay, ekerusen. Ekerusen is the aorist form. Sigma epsilon there is the first aorist morpheme and the third person singular. And as an augment there, I think there's an eta there. Okay, before the consonant. Okay? Or epsilon, actually, I think it's epsilon. because it begins with a consonant, so you don't need to lengthen anything. It just appears as an epsilon right before the consonant. You understand what I'm saying? From keruso means I preach or proclaim or whatever the case may be. So I wanted to actually add this as an appendix, or to further elaborate. Okay, but then it could, if it's too long, then it could stand on its own. Okay. The only body that Jesus ever had, continuously so, I'm talking about. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Was the body that he had in Bethlehem, that he took at Bethlehem as a birthday suit. The body that has to do with his incarnation. The body that has to do, okay, all right, with Philippians chapter 2, verse 7, Dulu, the Dulu body, if you will. Dulu body, the body of a Dulu, of a slave, of a bond slave, of a servant. Taking, there's a participle there, present participle active, PPA. Labon is the Greek participle there. The omega nu is not a genitive case ending. It's actually a participial morpheme, shaping that word, putting it into a participial construction. You understand what I'm saying? Omega nu. Like haon, if you will. Or huparchon, just a verse down before the road of 2:7 came 2:6. You understand what I'm saying? We have to understand that Jesus was not given another body, another different body to show his disciples, because that's forgery. He can't say it is I myself, like he said in Luke chapter 24 verse 39. If it wasn't himself, that would be lying. That would be dishonesty. He was saying, "Oh, by the way, my disciples touch and see and handle and by the way, you're hearing my voice, so you're using all the three senses. But I know it's not really my original body, but I'm portraying it as such, and so that way you can believe." It's nonsensical. You're charging God with lying when we're forgery. That's just the deal. That's what I said in my other study. I mean, why would God destroy state's evidence? Why would God destroy the only holding the memorial for what? Who's watching it? Oh, but he's in the memory of God. Says who? You? Who got everything wrong, by the way. I'm not going to mention all the sins and crimes. I'm not going to mention them. Right, my love? Anna, my love? I'm not going to mention all the sins and crimes yet again. I'm getting bored of them. It's an abomination unto the Lord. All these sins and crimes, the false dates, the magic wheat and corn, the worldwide tour, the Great Pyramid of Egypt and some part with the Babel. All these crimes. I mean, it's too much to mention. Time would fail me, says the Bible. Okay, but in the opposite way. Right, my love? Just placating my daughter, she's a special child. You understand what I'm saying? Anna Devane. I mean, why would God annihilate the body of Jesus or hold it in a memorial? First of all, you don't got the scriptural support. You don't have the scriptural support to support that view, so you got to discard the teaching. Why can't you let it go? Why you got to be like a dog that don't want to let the bone go? Or a chimp that doesn't want to let the rice go from the bottle. You understand what I'm saying? He has his hand in the bottle. He doesn't want to let the rice go, knowing there's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. My daughter's laughing. But forget about the emotionalism for now. Let's look at the facts. Jesus answered, Jesus answered them, destroy this temple now, and in 3 days is a guarantee. I will raise it up. I will. Destroy it. Go ahead. I'll raise it up again. Now, let's look at the Greek because there's a little bit of limitation here. There's a lot of limitation, by the way. You understand what I'm saying? I want to look at the limitation. That's just a deal. What do you mean limitation? Let me give you an example. Let me give me a rough example of the limitation that's going on here. It's almost like the genealogies of Jesus. I'm going to use that example. Do you know there is no possible way for a Messiah other than Jesus to come and say that he's a Messiah? Why? Well, look at the genius of God. Look how he tied things up. By matrimony. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Well, I mean, come on, Angelo, don't give me this hocus pocus. Give me the facts. I'll give you the facts. I'll slap you right in the face with them. Fact number one, the genealogy of Joseph is recorded in Matthew chapter 1. Fact number two, the genealogy of Mary is recorded in Luke chapter 3. Fact number 3, there's a kiss. In verse 11, okay, it mentions in Matthew chapter 1, Zacharias, he was cursed from any of his descendants to sit upon the throne. So the Messiah couldn't come in that way, in that line. It was cursed by Yahweh. Is that what I'm saying? Just like lands were cursed, other people were cursed. The cursing of the fig tree, they were cursed. So Jesus couldn't come that way. Well, what was the only genealogy? Well, Mary's genealogy wasn't cursed. Now, this is the deal. When the marriage was consummated, those two lines were tied up. You understand what I'm saying? They were tied up forever, and that means there is no other possible Messiah. Period. It's tied up. Listen, Dr. Barnhouse said that any man that says that he's the Messiah is really actually after those lines were tied up, is the child of the devil. That's just the deal. Now think of it in that way. That Jesus limiting the future resurrection of a body, which he says that it was his, ties up that resurrection only to the body that he had at Bethlehem, and that's just a deal. No other body could be displayed for the disciples in a resurrection of the Messiah because he tied it up. Hey, limited. A future resurrection that he was going to have a part of. You understand what I'm saying? He tied up that body to the body that he had when he said the statement, and no other body can be raised from the dead. That's it. That's it. That's it all across the board. All across the board. Jesus said that he was going to raise his body. And that's the only body that could be raised on the third day. It couldn't be another body because the accusers of case construction will be at naught. The accuser of the case is the case of limitation as to extent. So the extent of the raising is tied up to the body of Jesus that he had as a birthday suit in Bethlehem, and the one that he was speaking from to those unbelieving Jews there, when he said, destroy this temple in 3 days, I will raise it up again from the dead. That's just a deal. It's tied up. It can't be another body. The Father didn't give Jesus another body. Jesus didn't appear in another body because he couldn't say to the disciples that it was himself. That's just the deal. That's just the deal. Because if it was another body, he couldn't say, touch and handle me, for a spirit does not have flesh and bone like you see me have, as I myself Hey me, autos, or whatever the case may be. He couldn't say it. Jesus is the truth. Hey, Aletheia. So he couldn't lie to his disciple. He had to say he was honored bound to actually say, the body that I'm presenting to you guys is not my actual body that I had as a birthday suit, but it's another one that I conjured up, or the Father gave me, and so because the other one is on display according to the witnesses. You understand what I'm saying? So this is not my body, but this is for you, so you can believe that. What are they going to believe? That's just a deal. So what are they going to believe? That God gave, is that the resurrection? That God is it, what is it? What? Rewind. You heard the tape? You rewind it. Again. It's like again, You understand what I'm saying? Don't you know what means? Don't you know what means? Means You understand what I mean? It means again. It has something to do with doing something again. Standing again. Sitting. Resit yourself. Or something. Reseat yourself or something like that. You were sitting down. You got up. And then you're sitting back again. Is that what I'm saying? Anything where means again, like that's just a deal. So there can't be no nothing if it ain't the same body that was raised up. Because that body wasn't initially, the one that Jesus had before the resurrection. So it wasn't even in existence, and so there's no nothing. That's just a deal. You guys were duped at the tower. That's all there is to it, though. Come on, man. Just like Joe Biden over again, like I said, in these tapes. I mean, not even tapes, digital, God's sakes. Those other things over here answered, okay? Apekrite. The aorist passive form is there. Morphine. Theta and eta nowadays called theta and eta. When you see that, okay, just say that it's an aorist passive. If you see the eta, okay, just say it's an aorist passive. Just be careful. Don't mix it up with a subjunctive eta. What's just a deal? You understand what I'm saying? If it's a second aorist passive construction, you understand what I'm saying? Apekrite, hi my love. Apekrite answered, oh, Jesus. Jesus. That's the subject nominative. Subject nominative, he's doing the action of the verb. And Greek word kai, everybody knows that by now. I mean, they should. I mean, the tower knows that Greek word, and, right? I mean, are you sure? You're telling me who Jesus is and you don't even know how to spell Kai? Nowadays pronounced Kai? Is that what I'm saying? Isn't that a joke? I mean, Kai. You know what I'm saying? Said is A-pen. What's that? It said over here. You're cheating. A-pen. So how do you spell it? Come on. Give me the Greek. Come on, man. You can't tell me who Jesus isn't if you don't know how to read. Don't be like your daddy, Russell didn't even know how to read Greek on the screen, on the board, on the wall. Don't give me that. Hocus pocus. Epsilon iota P, epsilon nu. Now they's called ni. To them, okay, Altois. What's that? Oh, it's a P Pro DM3P. Come on, man. See what I'm talking about? Come on. What is it? What is it? Oh, I gotta look at my Vine's complete expository dictionary of Old and New Testament words. It'll tell me what it is. No, it won't. Okay, you understand? He gonna tell you what it is. What's a P Pro? What's that? The Xbox? What is it? It's a personal pronoun. To them is in the date a case of interest. You understand what I'm saying? The M stands for masculine. The 3 and the P stands for the third person plural. You understand what I'm saying? Altois. What's the case ending? Omicron iota sigma or iota sigma if you want to put it like that. Altois. You understand what I'm saying? The morphine. Come on, man. Well, we went through it. Supposed to know. I mean, that's just a deal. He said to them, all right, I'm back, guys. My screen got tied up. It says Apin over here, and that's translated by said. To them is in the dative plural, altois, from the altos paradigm. He said to them, those unbelieving Jews, destroy. That's an imperative. Okay, that's the mood command. Over here, the aorist imperative active, AMA, second person, I should say. You understand what I'm saying? There's a capital lambda there, capital L. It looks like an incomplete capital A, doesn't it? But it's a capital L in Greek. And the U-looking letters, an upsilon, nowadays called epsilon, is a U class in biblical Greek, but it's an I class in modern Greek. Okay, but we'll stay with the biblical pronunciation. There's a cube marker there, so Lu. That's the accent marker. That's the accent marker. You got a sigma here in alpha. That's an aorist morpheme. That's what shows you is in an aorist tense. So if you hear somebody say, "Oh, that's an aorist," well, how can you tell? It's an aorist. Okay, or you can tell it's an aorist. You understand what I'm saying? By looking at the sigma and alpha that's here. You got the present tense stem lu here, and then sigma and alpha is here. And then you got te, which is the imperative morpheme. So you got three morphemes over here: the stem, the aorist, first aorist form, and the imperative morpheme. The te is what tells you that this is actually in the imperative mood. But you can ask me, well, Angelo, isn't there another te hanging around in Greek? Yeah, there is, and that's a second personal ending from the master verb ending chart is second person. When you see that te, you know that somebody's speaking to someone. But the problem is that the epsilon goes before that sort of te. Over here you have an alpha. That's the difference. Okay. Lusate. Okay, destroy. And you got tan na'an. The temple, Na'an, spelled out Nu, nowadays called Ni, Alpha, Omicron, nowadays called Omicron, and Nu. Na'an means temple, but he wasn't talking about the temple at Jerusalem, he was talking about himself. Remember, he was called, okay, not that it's a noun, but he is a verb form. Eskenosen is in the aorist also. Eskenosen, he tabernacled among us, so he was called basically a fulfillment of the tabernacle in the Old Testament, where in verse 14 of chapter 1 of John's gospel, of this gospel, he tabernacled among us and we beheld his glory. You understand what I'm saying? The tabernacle. And now he's calling himself the temple. Behold, one greater than Solomon is here. You understand what I'm saying? That's what Jesus said. Hi, my love. Destroy, lusate. Lusate Tana'an. Lusate Tana'an, this temple. This comes right after Tutan. That's an accusative case. So you got Lusate Tana'an Tutan. Now Tutan is from the Hutas paradigm. Hutas means this or these, and Ekenos means that or those. Or if it's in the plural, it'll be those. Like that. These will be in the plural also for Hutas. You understand what I'm saying? They both have different rules. Okay, they're not straitjacketed rules, but they have different rules. The near, demonstrative is this is a demonstrative pronoun. The near demonstrative is this one. The farthest demonstrative is ekenos, and so that goes neatly, with theos, meaning Jesus exegeting the Father. That the rule of ekenos works perfectly in John 1:18, and then the rule of hutas works perfectly. You understand what I'm saying? As Jesus being the true God. In 1 John chapter 5 verse 20, and read also John chapter 1 verses 1 and 2. Okay, hutas is there referring not to theos in John 1:1b, but to logos or logos in John 1:1c. You understand what I'm saying? You see how the rule works. Everything has to have rules. You can't break the rules. You can't jump out of the Empire State Building and expect to go up. You understand what I'm saying? You'll be like Humpty Dumpty, you're going down. And all your king horses in the tower and all the king's men ain't gonna put you back together again when you're in Shia waiting for the last judgment at the white throne, only to be added insult to injury, because our God is a consuming fire, to the lake of fire. You understand what I'm saying? And how you gonna scream, oh, how my soul hated instruction. You see, that's just the deal. Oh, these Trinitarians. Okay. When your soul is in hell, waiting for the white throne, I mean, well, then you're going to remember that we were right and you guys were wrong. And you had no biblical support for your views. Can't say that Jesus' body is destroyed and he was annihilated and all this hocus pocus and all this garbage without no biblical support. You can't do it. Temple Na'an Tutan, this. Destroy this temple, not another one. Destroy this temple, and Greek word kai, you all know that. And 3 in is n, taking the dative case always. 3, and that's trisson, and that's in the dative case. Okay, that's just it. Sigma iota, there. In 3 days, okay. Hemerais days, I will raise up, okay, egero. Now, this is the same Greek word found and recorded. This is tagged by 1453. Found and recorded in all the synoptic gospels for Jesus being raised. Okay? The synoptic gospels, as a matter of fact, okay, is found, and let me go there. I want to show you this. I didn't show you this before. I want to go to first. I want to go through the trouble. I want to show you something from 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Hi, hon, my love. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verses 42 and 43. Let me get chapter 15 right here. Recorded. And that's just a deal. Hi, hon. It says, so also is, okay, the resurrection, and that's anastasis, the resurrection. Now, of the dead. Now, forget about the corruption part of this, and the mortality, and the sin, and the shame. Forget about that. I'm not using it completely to give an example of Jesus' resurrection, because this is talks about corruption. This talks about our resurrection, but the it is what I'm referring to. It is sown, it is raised. There's a one-to-one correspondence between the it that's sown, spedetai, and the it that's raised, egeretai. That's what I want to show you. Okay, the it and it is the same it. You understand what I'm saying? It is sown, spedetai. You understand what I'm saying? It is sown, spedetai. That's just the deal. Spedetai is over here. It is. Oh, thank you, honey, my love. Thank you. I'll eat that right away. Thanks. Rice with what? What's that?
The pork is bone and.
Oh, that's okay. I'll take that. I'll take the bone pork. Thank you, hon. Spedetai. It is sown. I'll do a part 3. It is sown is spedetai. It's spelled out sigma p epsilon iota rho epsilon tau alpha iota. And the tie, thanks on again. And the tie is a middle passive personal ending. Okay, the tie from the primary active personal ending chart. Okay, that's primary. Okay, so that's just the deal. This is in the present tense, so you know that this could take a primary. Personal ending, just like the future and the perfect tenses can also. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? The other ones, the aorist and the imperfect, take only secondary personal endings. Okay, so that's just a deal. It is sown. It is sown. Spedetai. It is sown. Okay, and in this is our body though. In decay, petara, and Jesus didn't see any decay. Dia petara, okay. no corruption for Jesus. So this example that I'm using here of the scripture doesn't go for Jesus all the way. It's just, I'm talking about just the the body of Jesus, it was sown in the tomb. That's what I'm talking about, and only that. The other stuff has to do with us, and it was raised. That's what I'm just using here. It is raised, okay? Egeretai, same personal ending, okay? The tie from the my side tie deal, mesastetum tie, connecting vowel right before the tie, epsilon, and eger. You understand what I'm saying? Eger, okay? From egero, who's that? Oh, okay, okay. Egero, and Egero's tagged by what is it? By 1453. By 1453, and that's the same Greek word that's found over there for I raise, and he put it in the future, I will raise. Okay, Egero. So that's just it's the same Greek word. That's why I used it. Okay. So as an example, that the it is very important. The it that is sown is the it that's going to be raised. Okay, the soul is not sown. The body is sown. The body without the soul is dead. It's not the other way around, that the soul is dead without the body. The soul goes to God, you understand what I'm saying? And the dust goes to the ground. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 around verse 7. You understand what I'm saying? Jehovah's Witnesses got to get that right. But I'm going to eat this plate of food, okay? And so I'll be right back. But this is very important. The one-to-one correspondence that I'm talking about here is the same body that is sown is the same body that's going to be raised for us. Okay? Meaning for us Christians, born again Christian people. The same body that was in the tomb, that was placed in the tomb, okay, in the new tomb of Jesus, is the same body that rose again from the dead. The it, okay, translating auton there in John chapter 2 verse 19, okay, the antecedent of that is temple, and we see in verse 21 they was talking about the temple of his own body, which is the genitive of opposition. But I better go, and I'll do a part 3. Thank you guys. Hi, my love. She's so sweet. My love. Okay, so I'm back from my siesta, guys. Okay, from eating the food that my wife Risa brought to me, and so I feel a little refreshed anyway. I went to the hospital via ambulance the other day. I had tremendous knee pain, and I was crying and everything like that. And I'm feeling better today. I went outside, got some exercise, and I'm just ready to go. Praise God, He gets the glory. So that's just. I was just refreshed with that food. It just reminds me of like Elijah. That's what I was saying. When he was running from Jezebel, got refreshed. So that was a different circumstance, So anyway, I just thank God's faithfulness. So it is erased. Okay, egeretai. Now it's the same Greek word found recorded because it's tagged by 1453. We're talking about egero, and that's found and recorded in the Synoptic Gospels. Let me just give you an example of just give you one example. So I guess let me just go to whatever gospel I see first, okay? Because it's the same thing. I go to Mark. Mark chapter 16, verse 6. Okay, remember the other one was tagged by 1453. Hi, my love. Hi, hon. She's being very good today. I think she had teething pain yesterday. She's only 4 years old, so I don't know when those things end. But she had, I think she had that. It had nothing to do with seizure or anything like that because of the size of her head. It's not a spiritual thing with her. It's the size of her head that's small, He is risen is tagged by 1453. See? It is sown, it is risen. He is risen. Okay, he is risen. Now, you have over here the actual stem, and the present stem is actually epsilon, gamma, epsilon, iota, rho. Okay, and the omega is like it's like false teeth. You understand what I'm saying? People say some people teach it's a personal ending, but some people don't. Some people say some people teach nothing sigma iota. You understand what I'm saying? Those are personal endings. Now, since this begins with an epsilon, what happens to showcase sort of like an ed in English? He kicked the ball. Well, the Greeks have two ways of doing it. If it begins with a consonant, okay, you just put an epsilon before the consonant. And I just mentioned one recorded, okay, in verse 19 of chapter 3 of 1 Peter. Okay, he preached. Okay, that's a completed action in past time. Not all aorists are that, but that happens to be that scenario. Okay, he preached, meaning in shield. So if it begins with begins with a consonant, and that begins with a kappa over there, you just put an epsilon. It's like an ed. But if it begins with a vowel, you lengthen the vowel. So if it begins with an alpha, you lengthen it to eta. If it begins with an epsilon, you lengthen it to eta. You understand what I'm saying? So you have over here egerte. Now what's that? Well, I mean, you have the augment here, which is sort of an ed. It's just like a clue that you're in the aorist. But you have to be careful with that because it could be the imperfect tense also has an augment like that. That's the problem. They should have used something else a little bit more different. Eger, okay. So and then you have the stem, okay. You have the stem over here, eger, but the epsilon was lengthened, so that's just the deal. Now the Latin here showcasing the aorist passive. Okay, he was not that he in this scenario in this scripture. It's not that he raised himself from the dead. Okay, someone else did the raising. So you have to conclude for all the scriptures put together, including Romans chapter 1 verse 4, that the entire Trinity had a part in Jesus' resurrection from the dead ones. That's all. Okay, the entire Trinity had a part in the literal resurrection of Jesus, not his soul. His soul wasn't raised. Okay, if you want to say his soul was raised, you have to say it in this way, though, that his soul was elevated, almost like by a spiritual crane out of Sheol. Not that he became dead and then the soul had to be revised. The Tower doesn't even teach that. They teach that he became, he was destroyed. The man Christ Jesus is dead, forever dead. Page 454, volume 5, study of the scriptures by that punk Russell. You understand what I'm saying? Hi, Malo. You understand? That's what they teach. He's dead, forever dead. Once he died, that's it. He doesn't exist anymore. He was recreated into what he was originally, the Archangel Michael. But it doesn't match any scripture. That's not a scriptural teaching. Okay? It's a cult. It's a sect. It has their own authority. The pamphlets and magazines. They used to come out of the 6th and 9th floor, or whatever the case may be, from the original tower, and now they got another Burger King castle. You understand what I'm saying? Hanging around. They got a new joint. The other one was erected in 1909. The same year that he paid alimony to his wife. You understand what I'm saying, Russell? Having been divorced, it's about time she did that. You understand what I'm saying? Way back in 1906. If you looked at the face of Russell, how can you wake up to that face? You understand what I'm saying? It's like the dogs dug him up or something like that. You understand? Goodness gracious. I mean, his face could have been in one of those haunted houses, one of those, you know what I mean? I think Frankenstein's monster is an improvement. I'm just saying. The Wolfman Jack is that. Just a deal. But it says over here, he is risen. You see? Egerte. It's the same Greek word. So it is sown, it is risen. That's what I'm just trying to say. There's a limitation, okay, of the example that I gave you in 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verses 43. Only to the it scenario. After that, there's no other examples that I want to glean from there, because it talks about corruptible body and decaying body, and Jesus didn't see shachat in Hebrew, decay, shachat. You understand what I'm saying? Diapethara in the Greek Septuagint, he didn't see any decay of any kind, and he wasn't abandoned, azav into Sheol. He wasn't abandoned in Sheol. You will not. A Hebrew word lo for not is a Hebrew negative all across the board. Lo, not abandoned. Lo, not not to allow your Holy One to see corruption. Chasid is the word for Holy One, and Jesus is the Holy One in a pious, kind, religious way. You understand what I'm saying? That's just it. Well, let's get back to this though. So this is Mark's gospel, and it says the same thing all across the board in Matthew 28:6, Mark chapter 16:6. We're here now. Luke chapter 24, verse 6 says the same thing. It has the same Greek word. He is risen. The same, which is, thank God, is the same thing. Now, only John the apostle, the evangelist, you understand what I'm saying, puts it at verse 9 in the second to last chapter of his book. You understand what I'm saying? As an infinitive, not even an aorist passive, an infinitive. Anastenai is the infinitive morpheme is the nai. It's the new alpha and iota. That's how you know that's an infinitive. And you have a bag full of infinitive morphemes anyway to choose from if you want to write something in particular. You understand what I'm saying? Well, let's get back to... so I guess the center of attention is really on John chapter 2, verse 19 today. That's really the center of attention. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to let my daughter sleep soon. And I have to give her milk. Let me see when I have to give her milk, though. Let me see. So, let me see. Why is that the case? What's the deal? Well, no. I don't want that. Wait. Okay. Oh, it's 2. It's 2. So, let me see when she had milk. 12. 1, 2. Yeah, it's about time. It's 2 hours and a half. So I better go. Let me just tie all the loose ends before I go and bring you a study. Just focus on Luke chapter 24 and verse 39. So I did a study on both of the verses, John chapter 2 verse 19 and Luke chapter 24 verse 39. So I wanted to give you a focused viewpoint of the individuals. The individual verses, John 2:19, and next time, God willing, I shall come with Luke chapter 24, verse 39 only, exclusively, okay? Jesus answered them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Now, it, again, we learned that the antecedent of Altan is Na'an. The case doesn't have to match. What has to match is the gender and the number. They have to be singular. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? That's the antecedent is the ancestor of the pronoun. Pronoun means in Latin in place of a noun. It's taking the place of a noun to break up the boredom or the monotony of repeating the same old thing again and again and again and again. That's why the pronoun was invented, to break up the monotony, says Julius Armanti in his old book. Now, I love the new manuals also. I'm not saying that I don't. I like to, but I'm not going to throw away, the baby with the bathwater just because Pontellier is different nowadays from the time of Manti, and some other things have changed. Well, I'm not going to throw his lexicon away. I mean, his manual away. It's a great manual. It should be revised by William D. Dr. William D. Malice and Dr. Daniel Wallace. Both of them should revise it. I mean, I don't think that they'll appreciate their manuals being tossed away because something will change in the future. You understand what I'm saying? So that's just the deal. Give honor to whom honor is due. And Manti came before those two fellows, and the other ones all across the board. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I love that manual, because it pays homage. You understand what I'm saying? It gives honor to a lot of manuals that went before them. They took great pains in giving you information of manuals that went before them, before page 20 even appears. You understand what I'm saying? The Jews, it says in verse 20, the Jews then said, it took 40 years to build this temple. And will you a man, a creature, mere mortal, will you? Son of Joseph, by the way, will you, a mere man, a creature? You. That's how you have to read this. Sarcasm written all over it. Is that what I'm saying? Will you? It's King James only curse. And my baby's laughing, my special child. And will you raise it up in 3 days, you, a man? You. I mean, it took 46 years. You gotta raise it up in 3 days? And Jesus wasn't even talking about the temple in Jerusalem. He wasn't talking about that. Even though he was a carpenter, I mean, you know. I guess Jesus could. This hasn't been said. Jesus could, if he wanted to, build a temple in not even a day. He just make it appear. He cursed the fig tree and it died immediately. What's more easier, to curse the fig tree or to build a temple? Okay, you understand what I'm saying? I think that anybody could build a temple in 46 years. There's no skin off my nose. But to say, may no fruit grow from you forever. That is more harder than the 46 years. Temple mumbo jumbo. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead, go in front of a fig tree. Go ahead, curse it. And see if it withers like Jesus made it wither to the ground, to the dust. As of his very existence, you know what I'm saying? You can stand for 46 years and you'll be finished with the temple first before you curse the fig tree. I'll tell you that. That's the deal. You can stand there and holler at the fig tree. Scorn is in very vitals of its very existence. It'll take, 460 years for you to have the faith. Is that what I'm saying? I mean, it'll take 46 trillion years for an unbeliever to stand right in front of the fig tree and curse it, just like Jesus. Just saying. It'll probably wither by itself. You understand? It won't be alive through all those years. Oh, look, Dad, I did it. I actually cursed it. Shut up. God let you live for trillions of years. It had to die eventually. Come on, man. Stop taking credit. Stop taking the glory. You see what I'm saying? What's this over here? The Jews then said, it took 46 years to build this temple. And will you raise it up? In 3 days, you creature. You. Come on. So I could hear Martin Lloyd-Jones say, don't torment me. He was talking about, Nicodemus, and his famous Christmas message, the best message I ever heard on Christmas. Okay, Christmas and the Modern Man. Get it from YouTube. Christmas and the Modern Man. Oh, what preaching. Oh, hallelujah. Oh, what a message. That's one of the greatest messages I ever heard in my life. The other one was a feet shod, right? From Ephesians chapter 6, verse 15. He has a lot of them. And as a tree planted, the first message or the second message of as a tree planted, Psalm 1. He has so many great sermons. But let's get back to this. This is, I might take a look at them. After when I'm finished with you guys, you understand what I'm saying? Verse 21, but he, meaning Christ, was speaking of the temple of his body. You see? Temple of his body. The genitive of opposition. The temple of his body. He wasn't talking about the temple in Jerusalem. Talking about himself. That if you destroy my temple, I will raise it up again. That's just a deal. On the third day, I will raise it up again. Well, I listen. He is straitjacketing a future resurrection to be tied up to the body that he's speaking from. That's the accusative case construction. That's the case of limitation. That's just the deal, right, my love? That's the case of limitation as the extent. The extent of the resurrection was to be tied up to the body that Jesus was speaking from, and no other body could be raised because it tied it up to that. And only that. It's just like the genealogies, like I said before. The genealogies are forever tied, and no Messiah can come out of those genealogies because of the case of Jeconias, that no descendant from his loins shall sit upon his throne. That's just the deal. It's impossible for Messiah to have come through the line of Joseph, through the line of Jeconias. It's impossible. Hi, my love. Well, I have to go, guys, because I have to make milk. And I made a lot of parts anyway, so this is probably look more than an hour. I have to get milk to my baby. But you know what I'm saying? What you can do to your own family, your own children, your spouse, your acquaintances, your friends, your buddies and pals is give them the truth. Why shall ye die? Says the prophet. Why? Before she starts crying. I'm coming, my love. I'm coming with milk, my love. Give them the milk of the word of God so they may grow thereby. And then give them the meat. Give them the whole sandwich. Not just verse 9 of chapter 1 of Hebrews. Give them the bread. The Jehovah's Witnesses are like snotty-nosed children. They eat the hot dog and throw away the buns. That's just the deal. That's not the way you do it. You got to take the whole sandwich. The divine sandwich is in Hebrews chapter 1, verses 8, 9, and 10. You just can't take what's in the middle just because it tickles your fancy. No, you have to take that God called Jesus God with special definiteness, and not only that, he called him Yahweh, quoting Psalm 102. He called Jesus his son Jehovah. Yahweh. He called him, he used the tetragrammaton, aka quotation. You understand what I'm saying? The tetragrammaton is found 9 times in Psalm 102, and he quoted from that Psalm. El is found once, the singular for God there. It's found once in the text of Psalm 102. He says, and Lord, he called him Lord, called his own son Lord, Yahweh. That's what it means. It's quoting from Psalm 102. How many times Yahweh is found in the text? 9 times. Count it. It's just a deal. So just take the whole sandwich and present that to your people. God is a consuming fire. How shall you escape if you neglect so great salvation? Now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. You may not have tomorrow. You may get struck down today. Then what? And your family's in limbo because you didn't want to give your family the truth because you were scared to leave the tower. Because you're going to be ostracized. What's worse, being ostracized by God or the tower? Pick your choice. What shall it profit a man if he gain the whole world, yet lose his soul? What shall you give in exchange of your soul? What? You can't give nothing. You can't bribe God. May you and your money perish. What does that mean? May you and your money go to hell. That's just a deal. I have to get my baby milk. I have to go. You understand what I'm saying? May you believe this teaching in the bodily, physical resurrection of Jesus. That in the same body that he had as a birthday suit was the same body that came out of the tomb alive again. And if you believe it with your whole heart, your cardia, the very dregs of your being, having been drawn by the cords of love by God, you will be saved. For with the heart, men believes unto salvation. You understand what I'm saying? And with the mouth, confession is made. You understand? If you don't pray to Jesus, you can't be saved. He said, if you ask me anything in my name, I will do it. John 14:14. And the scenario is this. If the witnesses are right and they're not, if you can't pray to Jesus, that means you can't be saved. But I have to go to my baby. I hope you got the message. Amen? Come in, my love. I'm going to make milk right now for you, my love. Okay, my love. I love you. I see how she laughs when I chuck, when I cough. That's the King James only curse. That's just the deal. Take care, guys. Bye-bye now. There's another cult and sect. Is that what I'm saying? Bye, guys. Take care.